So you want to start a successful branded dropshipping business on Shopify. That's amazing. You're in the right place. In this video, I'm going to talk about exactly what branded dropshipping is, how it works, why it's the best strategy if you want to start a successful Shopify store and e-commerce online business today, and how you can actually go and start making sales, start making profit within literally like weeks of watching this video and have a fully functional, fully profitable store within a few months. Now in this video, I'm going to give you the exact steps, so all the way from step one, all the way to having a fully functional and profitable store that is making about $100,000 in sales per year. And I'm also going to give you the steps to scale that to $1 million per year in sales. Now I know you might be thinking, whoa, like 100K per year in sales, that's a lot of money. Why do you think that I can do that? Or even $1 million, like don't even talk about $1 million. Probably if you're watching this, you've been looking at starting a successful online business for a little while now. You've been on YouTube, you've been looking at videos. You're probably overwhelmed with the amount of content on there, just like I was when I was first starting out. But the truth is that in e-commerce, and I've been at this for 3 years in the e-commerce game, in e-commerce, 100K in sales is an industry standard. If you're at 100K per year in sales, that's like normal. If it's below that, there's something wrong. So that's why it's fully possible and realistic for you if you actually started today with your journey to actually hit 100K in sales. Now in this video, I'm going to also go past that and I'm going to show you how to hit 100K in sales and also scale to $1 million per year in sales and beyond that with every single step along the way. Now there's a lot of confusion about why branded dropshipping, what are the differences between regular dropshipping, branded dropshipping, and what is this strategy? Now, this is the strategy that all of the most successful brands, not only e-commerce brands, but all of the most successful brands that have ever existed have used. If you go down the street to Walmart and you go, let's say, to the sports and outdoor section, you're going to see a brand called Coleman, right? And you'll see that Coleman only specializes in selling outdoor equipment. So they sell camping stuff, stoves, tents, things like that. Now, if you go to, let's say the clothing section, you'll also see that there are clothes, but they're all under one brand. Now, Coleman won't go and start selling, fashion clothing. They're not going to go and start selling, beauty products. They're strictly focused on camping. And so that is exactly what branded dropshipping is. So regular building an e-commerce store, but now you're actually building a brand. That is the future. That is exactly, what the future of e-commerce is going to look like. If you're right here on the waves of this and you're, watching this video, you're thinking of starting a successful online business, right now is the best time to do that. And this is the best strategy for you to actually position yourself to succeed now and in the future. Now, before I personally got into Shopify and e-commerce, I always wanted to start a Shopify business. I already had a successful Amazon FBA business, which is something totally different. We're not going to talk about that. I talk about that on my channel a lot, but it's just another online business that you can start. But I wanted to start Shopify, but I saw many problems with it, especially the way that people online were teaching it. And the main problems that I saw were, number one, the shipping time was extremely long. So if you were to go and dropship something, which means you would set up a store online, you'd get a Shopify subscription, you would find a product, and you would use an app called Oberlo, which simply takes a product from AliExpress and copy and pastes it on your store on Shopify. And AliExpress is basically like the #1 Chinese website of manufacturers where you can go and buy individual units of products from China. And so you'd use Oberlo, you'd copy paste the product, you wouldn't order any inventory, and when a customer actually goes and buys your product, that's when you go and purchase the product from your supplier, automatically does it through Oberlo, and then your supplier would directly ship it out to your customer. However, using a service called ePacket, it would take like 2 to 3 weeks to get the product to your customer, and that's just way too long. In today's world, when you can just Amazon Prime something in 2 days, people are used to that, and if you're going to go and follow that outdated dropshipping model, you're just going to get a ton of complaints. That's exactly what I experienced when I first started out like that. Another big problem that I saw was coming from Amazon, where we have to private label our products, which basically means create a brand, right? So you'd actually create your own logo, and you'd put the logo on your product, and you would actually create like a name for your product line. On Shopify, people were just copying and pasting cheap Chinese products and putting it on their store. And so I quickly saw that that was a problem. And so I had to fix that as well. And so that's why I told myself, you know what, if I'm going to get into Shopify, I better come up with a brand new strategy. And that's exactly what branded dropshipping is and has become.
So here's a short explanation of branded dropshipping. You create a Shopify store that sells a valuable product to people in a specific niche, and you build a worldwide brand out of that, slowly expanding your product line. Essentially, instead of just going and dropshipping random stuff that you find online, instead of just going and creating stores where you're constantly testing product and you're constantly just trying to find new gimmicky things to sell, you're creating a brand around one specific product that you find to actually give people enough value where they're able and willing to pay great money for it, say $30, $40, $50 at least for the product. And then it's also something that you can go and expand with a product line. So why branded dropshipping? And this is a very good question. You can start making profit within a week to a few weeks after watching this video. That's not an exaggeration. With dropshipping, you don't have to wait for any products to actually get to your house or to get into a fulfillment warehouse. You don't have to wait for any of that. You also don't have to place any bulk orders. You take zero risk up front because you don't have to order a bunch of product. So it's not like you have to go and spend thousands of dollars to order something and then you don't know if that thing is going to sell and if you're going to just be left with 1,000 units in your garage just lying there and all that money is invested and gone. So that's another reason why you should do branded dropshipping. Now, all you need also is just a computer and an internet connection. So no matter where you're from, the United States, from Canada, from Russia, from Germany, from Africa, as long as you have a computer and an internet connection, you can start this business and it's fully possible that you can go and make great passive income with it. Now, another reason is you don't do any of the shipping. You never even see the product. So once you have your store up and running and you're making sales, then the customer pays you first. So when you make a sale on your store, the customers, they pay you the money. And so you get the money in your bank account or on your PayPal or whichever payment provider you're using. And then you pay your supplier. You send a list of your orders to your supplier, and then your supplier goes on and individually ships out every single piece, every single order to each customer's address. So that completely bypasses you. You never see the product. It goes straight to them. And like I said, you also get paid before you have to pay your supplier anything. So you are the one who gets paid first. You don't have to pay your supplier up front unless you're doing bulk orders, which we're going to discuss later. You should not be doing bulk orders until a certain phase. It's especially not at the beginning. Dropshipping at the beginning is best. That way you're not taking any risks, like I said, and you can just pocket the profit. And finally, why branded dropshipping? It's the best strategy to build a real online business with Shopify that I've created and that I've honestly, found that will not only continue to exist, but grow for months and years to come. And you can see amazing examples of branded dropshipping in use here with some of the most successful e-commerce stores in the world that have ever existed. So as you can see here, we got Movement Watches. This is a super huge watch company, and they started with just the simple dropshipping model, and they moved on to creating a powerful brand, with like a luxury watch line, and they're all like really great designs, and they all get them from China, from Alibaba, AliExpress. They've secured relationships with suppliers. I'm going to talk about how to do that as well. And so this is something that you can fully do. There's no reason why you can't start this as well. This company sold for about $100 million to a big watch company called Movado. And so the beauty of this as well is if you build a brand, you can later on sell it for millions of dollars, multi-millions. Another example is FashionNova. I'm sure that you know and you're familiar with FashionNova. Exactly the same. They've created a brand of fashionable clothing and all of these designs. They get them from you guessed it, China, from Alibaba, from AliExpress. Now at this point they've probably secured relationships with suppliers around the world, but when they started, I'm sure that it was just very basic, right? Everybody started somewhere. We all start in the same shoes. Now another company is BlendJet, and these guys sell portable blenders here. As you can see, it's to make smoothies on the go. Another example of a very powerful and profitable branded dropshipping store. Another one is ND Sleep, also similar to Casper Sleep. You can order mattresses online and they come directly to you. All right, so how exactly does it work? And I'm going to take you step by step here because this does get a little bit confusing for some people. They don't really understand whether it's private labeling, dropshipping, what's really going on. Do I have to order in bulk? So the first step is you open a Shopify store with one product, only one product that fits all of the product research criteria. And we'll talk about that exact product research criteria soon. So, the things that you have to look for to make sure that your product will be profitable and will sell. And it's something that you can really explode worldwide. Now, the next step is you contact a supplier on Alibaba or AliExpress. These are two of the biggest manufacturer websites in the world. Alibaba, the difference is basically Alibaba, you can find suppliers who are used to selling in bulk. So you can buy product in bulk from them, and you can actually get them to dropship for you, which is something that I'm going to talk about. And that's a secret that I found myself. And I've used suppliers almost exclusively from Alibaba for my dropshipping businesses. Now, for AliExpress, it's the same as Alibaba, except it's individual units. So you can go and find suppliers who are already on there and are willing to dropship. Now, here's a big tip when you're contacting suppliers. It's best to contact 3 to 5 suppliers and compare the costs between them, including shipping costs. A lot of people, especially beginners, they only contact one supplier and then, they're really wondering like, hey, is this a fair price? I don't really have an idea of what a fair per unit price for my product is. As well, it seems like they're overcharging me for shipping. So if you contact 3 to 5 suppliers, then that's going to ensure that you have an accurate idea of a fair price for your product and also a fair price for your shipping. Now, after you find your supplier, you order a sample to your house to see if the shipping process is smooth with that product and also to see which one is best. So preferably you want to order multiple samples from multiple suppliers because usually multiple suppliers will have different, slightly different versions of your product. They'll have like slightly differences. And so that's the best way that I found of choosing the highest quality product, right? If you go online on Alibaba, you find a supplier, you'll see that a lot of them have similar products. However, when you actually get the samples, you'll see that there are slight differences, and these slight differences might really make or break your product. So that's what you do. And the next step after this is you build out and actually design your store on Shopify. Now, Shopify makes it super easy to design your store. It's basically drag and drop, and there are like a bunch of amazing themes on there. There are a bunch of amazing apps that you can use. And so it really, like, the software is revolutionary, honestly. Before Shopify existed, it was extremely difficult. You would have had to hire developers just to create a store for you, and this whole thing would be like a six-figure endeavor by itself. And so you design your store. A tip for this part is to look at your competitor strategies. So make sure that you have at least one competitor that is already selling your product. If you don't have a competitor, you can still sell your product. However, you're taking a risk because you don't know if there's already a market fit for your product. You don't know if there's already demand, and if someone is already successful with it, right? The best evidence of success is if someone is already doing it successfully. So that's why I recommend looking at your competitor strategies on their website. Preferably look at 2 to 3 competitors. Go through their website and write down, like in a notebook or on Evernote, whatever you're using for your note taking, and just write down all their best strategies that they're doing. And then you can go and implement a few of them or all of them on your store. But also the main thing is you don't want to copy. You want to make it better. That's very important. You don't want to just copy. You want to make it better. So just put your own little spin on it, put your own little twist, and that's going to ensure that you have the highest chances of success. And the next part is you choose an ad traffic source. This is how you're actually going to get your customers. So you can either use Facebook ads. That's been the most popular way of getting customers. However, I wouldn't recommend relying only on Facebook ads because, they can ban your account. Now Facebook is really cracking down on a bunch of advertisers, honestly, like people that have never broken any of Facebook's rules. I personally had problems, at one point with my own Facebook ad account, and I've since fixed it. But honestly, that's why I'm going to tell you the best way to do this is to combine, Facebook ads with, let's say, YouTube ads or Google ads. That way you're not only reliant on one traffic source, because if your business is reliant on one traffic source, and no one says this, but if your business is reliant on one traffic source, then if they pull the plug on that traffic source, then you're basically screwed. So that's why you want to have at least 2 traffic sources. So Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube, there's also Pinterest, Google Shopping. So there's a bunch, there's not only Facebook. Instagram is owned by Facebook, so I count that as one traffic source. Now the next step is you start running ads. Now customers are going to see your ads, they're going to go on your website, and if they see more value in your product than the money that they're giving up to get it, they will buy it. Let's rewind for a second. That's literally like a golden rule of business here. People only buy something if they see more value in the product than the money that they're giving up in exchange for it. If you learn this, you will never run out of money in your life. You'll always have money. All right. A lot of people try selling stuff that is honestly not even worth the pixels that it's on, the website that it's on, right? So that's why if you make sure that the product is good and that you're, presenting the product in the best light, then it's basically going to ensure success for you and your brand. So at this point, you should be making sales. And let's say that you're at about 5 orders per day. So at this point, you download your orders from Shopify. Shopify makes it super easy to download your orders. There's like a button where you can click on and it says export CSV. And so that exports it into a nice Excel sheet. It's all organized and you can just send that off to your supplier. And when you send that off to your supplier, they send you a bill. You pay the bill either via PayPal, Alipay, or Alibaba, Trade Assurance, whatever you decide, and then they will go and individually ship out each order to your customers. So remember, we're not paying them up front. We're already paying them from the money that the customers have already paid us on our website. So now once you've been doing that for a few weeks to a month and you're making great profit, then you can consider moving on to private labeling and bulk orders. Now this is really where the branded dropshipping strategy shines. Why do you do this? Because we want to offer our customers extremely fast 2 to 3 day shipping in the US and 1 week worldwide shipping. This is the key to really building a brand that is going to stand the test of time and that is going to explode worldwide. Something that you can, really explode, like Movement Watches, FashionNova, right? It's fully possible that you can do this. And I hope you understand this by watching this video. I'm giving you the tools to do that. And I'm personally doing that myself. However, I have so much going on. If I could only focus on, just let's say building one specific brand, then of course it would have already been done. But since I also want to help you guys out and, since I also have this amazing community of people online, I want to share this amazing strategy with you. Now, another reason why we want to go and start actually ordering our product in bulk is to have a custom logo on our product. Sometimes when we reach out to suppliers on our very first, when we're just beginning with branded dropshipping, we can ask them, hey, can you dropship our product with our logo on it? Now, of course, that means that they have to print our logo on every single unit individually. And a lot of them will say, no, you have to order our MOQ, which stands for minimum order quantity. So that means that, we're going to have to order like 50 units, 100 units, 250 units. You can negotiate that MOQ. You can try to negotiate it down to 0, but sometimes they won't budge. Most likely you can negotiate that MOQ down maybe in half, from 500 to 250 or from 250 to 100, right? So I still wouldn't recommend ordering in bulk at the very beginning because you don't have a proof of concept yet. You're not making any sales. So I only recommend actually placing the bulk order with your supplier as soon as you've made significant profit after a few weeks to a month. I would say at least after a month of sales, and now you have enough proof that, hey, now is the time to start doing bulk orders. And so with bulk orders, we also have returns automatically processed. So before, how do we process returns? It's a great question. Before, when we're dropshipping, basically we don't really have a warehouse, right? Since it's going directly from the supplier, when we do returns, what I like to say is, hey, if a customer goes and asks for a return, I just basically give them the money back, and they don't have to send anything back to me because I don't have anywhere. I'm not going to have them send the product to my house unless you want to do that. That's up to you. But when we do bulk orders, now we can use a third-party fulfillment service. Now, what that is, to put it simply, it's a warehouse service that will actually go and ship all of our products out to our customers. So it's like kind of a middleman between our supplier and our customer. But the reason why it's so good is because, yes, it might cost a little bit more because we do have to pay them a fee to store our products and to also ship our products out individually for each unit. It's so much better because now we can have extremely fast shipping because the warehouse is going to be located in our target marketplace. So probably the United States. If you're building a worldwide brand, you're going to have more than one. So you might have one in the US, one in Europe, one in Asia, right? So that makes the shipping super quick for your customers. And also that way people can actually have an address to send their returns to, and potentially we can reuse that inventory if it's been returned in good condition. So there are huge pluses to this, but don't do this in the beginning. Don't order in bulk in the beginning. I don't want you to go and pay thousands of dollars for bulk orders when you haven't even, proven your product or your store if it works yet. So this is something that's later on. This is something that you want to really go and scale to the millions with. Another great reason why we want to move to using a third-party fulfillment service and bulk orders is because not only can we have our logo on it, we can also include custom branding with our product. So for example, like a custom product insert, which is a piece of paper that basically says your brand and a message like, thank you for buying, thank you for purchasing from us, leave us a review. We can also put in, promotional items like upcoming Black Friday sale, upcoming Christmas sale, right? So Thanksgiving, all these things. So that way we have more branding and design freedom with our product, and also we have control over our units. Now, I know that was a long explanation, but now I hope you understand at this point, you're a fully established brand. So you followed the branded dropshipping strategy. At this point, you're likely making between 10K per month and 100K per month in sales. I know it sounds crazy, but trust me, this is normal. Like I said, it's an industry standard to make 100K per year in sales if you're an e-commerce brand. The demand is rising for e-commerce every single year. So you have to understand, if you can just change your beliefs, if you can just, take away your limiting beliefs and really align yourself with the right mindset, then there's no reason why you can't succeed and succeed big. Now let's talk about profit margin. So the profit margin with branded dropshipping is about 30%. Anything above that, like 40 or 50%, is amazing. That's great. Anything below that, that's, it's still fine as long as your target profit margin eventually will be 30%. So what I mean by profit margin is if you make $10,000 in sales in 1 month, that's a profit of $3,000 after your ad cost and your cost of goods, including shipping. Now, I want to give you a tip here. When you're just starting out, especially when you're drop shipping from your supplier directly to your customers, you're not doing bulk orders at the beginning. Like I said, you don't do them at the very beginning. You only do them once you've made a significant amount of profit. At the very beginning, when you're starting your ads, you're testing ad creatives, and you're really optimizing your website, don't worry if you're not making much profit. Don't worry if your profit margin is even lower than 30%, because as long as you're collecting the data and you're really finding out like the best ads and the best interests on Facebook, for example, to target, and you're just learning, right? Take that as a learning process, but know that eventually you will be making profit. And by eventually, I mean within 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the road, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. And if you take that same approach to your store, you'll see that later on, all your work will pay off and pay off big. Now you might be thinking 10K in sales, Dan, if that's only a profit of $3,000 after ad cost, well, that's not that much, right? Well, the beauty is once you have a working store and product, if you made 10K in a month in sales and you made $3,000 in profit, like we said, a 30% profit margin, All you have to do is scale your ads with paid traffic, let's say with Facebook ads, with Instagram ads, with YouTube ads. Once you found a winning ad, you've found a combination of a winning product, winning offer, and winning ads, it's easy to scale those ads 10x. So for example, from 10K per month in sales to 100K per month in sales. And so now you're at a 30K per month profit every single month. So once you found a winner, you only have to win once. It's very easy to scale. You just increase your ad budget on that platform. So now that you understand exactly how branded dropshipping works and how you'll make money from it, I want to run some very important questions you probably have. So the first question is, and this is very important, how much money do I need to start this and to actually become successful? So $500 to $1,000 is a good starting point. I would say $1,000 plus is ideal. If you have above $1,000 in savings, or if you have access to $1,000, then that's perfect, because then that leaves you enough money for basically everything you need and to really have a professional store up and running. And like I said, it's not including your inventory costs. We're not ordering any inventory for a long time. Remember that. The bulk orders come way later. So if you're at the lower end of this budget, like $300 is possible, but you will definitely need to find more money soon, because if I do a quick breakdown of the costs here, the first cost is $29 per month is your Shopify subscription. Of course, that's for Shopify Basic. They have different levels of subscriptions, but you can start off with the 14-day free trial. There's a link down below for that. So you can just go, you can, play around with Shopify, design your store, find a product that way. And so after 14 days, you can then choose if you want to cancel, or you can upgrade to the $29 per month plan, which is the basic plan that you'll need to actually sell. Now, the next cost is your domain. So that's your actual website. Now, that's going to cost, honestly, it ranges. But let's say if your domain that you choose is available, then it's going to cost you about $25 if you use Google Domains or something like GoDaddy. I recommend GoDaddy or Google Domains. They're both great. Now, the type of domain that you should buy, I always recommend getting a .com. However, of course, it's always harder to get a .com than a .co. So if your store name is Barbecue Pro and you're selling barbecue products, then you can just do, for example, barbecueprostore.com, like bbqprostore.com, and that can be an option, or barbecuepro, co.com, something like that, or barbecuepro.co. So it really, your domain is important, but it's not that important. And especially later, once you've made profit, you can then go and try to buy an existing domain. However, that will cost you much more than $25. So it's not something that is very important at the very beginning. And the next cost is $200 to $300 for your ads to start with. So probably for Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, whichever platform you choose for your ads. That's obviously variable. You can spend less, more than that, but definitely to start out and really just find some ads that will win, that will make you some profit, it's going to cost between $200 and $300. You'll also need $50 to $100 for samples. So of course, these are the samples that you're ordering from your Chinese supplier, and this is when you are deciding which product is best, which supplier has the best version of your product. And so for this, I put down $50 to $100 because it's usually a little bit more expensive for them to ship out a sample and prepare a sample with your logo on it. They'll do that sometimes. They'll put your logo on it. So $50 to $100. And the next cost is product photos. Good product photos are very important to have for your branded dropshipping store, because that's literally what your customer is seeing as soon as they click on your ad and they go, right? They're going to judge your website within a fraction of a second. In today's world, human attention span is incredibly low. So you really have to capture the customer's attention, the potential customer's attention, and you have to basically drive them to the add to cart button with your beautiful product pictures. I don't recommend you taking them themselves unless you're a professional. So that's why I recommend paying someone who knows how to do this. A service that I would highly recommend using, and a service that I've been working with for my own product photos, is PicBooster.com. It's an amazing service. They do amazing product photography, so you can go check them out. There's a link down below for them. Now, the next cost, and this is the final cost, is $50 to $100 per month for your apps. So I'm talking about currency converters. I'm talking about apps that customize the look and feel of your store, funnel apps, volume discount apps, help center apps, right? So like your frequently asked questions page. The Shopify App Store has a ton of amazing apps that you can go and you can install on your site and you can play around with and really figure out the best one for you. So for that, they usually all have a free trial, like a 7-day free trial or a 14-day free trial, sometimes 30-day, and some of them are free, but the best ones are usually after the free trial, you'll have to pay. And so for that, I put down $50 to $100 per month as a starting point. So that brings us to about $500 to $750 to become profitable. That's to achieve our first profitable sales. So that is the realistic cost to start and to actually succeed with the business. If you have $300, it's possible to start, but you'll be missing out on a few important things like great product photos, maybe samples, right? So that's why, closer to that 500, 750, 1,000 number is always best. Now, another question is, where can I do this from? And in which country should I actually start selling in, right? The beauty with online businesses, you can start selling anywhere. Like if you are in America, you can sell in Germany, you can sell in France, you can sell in the UK, right? Wherever there is demand, that's where you want to sell is the point. But there is demand everywhere. So you can do this from anywhere in the world as long as you have internet, a decent computer, and the will to begin and to actually succeed with this. However, for the question of which country you should start selling in, you honestly have a few options. The first option is, and I recommend this as a general rule of thumb for most people, start off in the big four. And in e-commerce language, the big four means the United States, Canada, the UK, and Australia. These four countries have a lot of demand for e-commerce, and they're big. They have big consumer spending, so they spend a lot of money on online products, and they have quite large populations. So you can do those countries. Now, another option is to start your store in a country where you speak the language, or you're familiar with the language and culture. And a good part about that is that any country other than the US or the big four, they all have a much cheaper cost of advertising, especially on Facebook. So the CPM in marketing lingo, that means cost to reach 1,000 people. So cost per mil means 1,000 in French. Basically, it's much cheaper to reach people in those countries that are not the big four. So that's one advantage. However, the United States, Canada, UK, and Australia, especially the US, that's the easiest place, in my opinion, to capture sales and to prove that your product works and is profitable. But honestly, there is limitless opportunity. You can start a successful store in German, not even in English, in German, and you can blow it up into the millions. There is gold everywhere as long as you actually, take action, you get it started on the journey, and you don't just sit around and action fake. Another question is, what about taxes, the legal side of this business? I know that you might be worried about that. A lot of people ask me those questions. So for taxes, what I always say is focus on making your first $1,000 a month. Focus on bringing your online business to $1,000 per month. $1,000 per month is like a magic number where at that point you're committed enough where, okay, you're going to continue doing it because you've had like this feedback loop. You've seen that it's working for you. And so at that point, that's when I recommend, really starting to worry about sales tax and your corporate taxes. So very quickly, and I'm not an accountant as a disclaimer, but I can, give you a short explanation. Sales tax, that's something that you have to pay in your home country. So make sure that you're setting up the sales tax infrastructure that you need. You're collecting sales tax from your customers in your home country. Technically, you should be collecting sales tax in every single other country that you're selling in, but most countries have a threshold. They have like a minimum amount of sales per year that you've achieved in order to actually collect the sales tax. So if you just started out, you don't have anything to worry about collecting sales tax. Don't worry about that. Set that up later once your store is at 6 figures per year. That's what I recommend. Now, for the legal side of this business, if you go and create a corporation or an LLC, you can create one in your home country or in the United States from anywhere in the world. A great service for that is LegalZoom.com. There are many services out there that will do it for you. It costs a few $100s to $500 to do that. So if you create an LLC, now you have a corporation. And if you do that, then that means that there's limited liability. So let's say you have a store that sells survival knives. And if someone buys one of your survival knives and they go and actually, let's say kill someone with it or hurt themselves with it, well, technically they can sue you, right? However, if you have an LLC, if you have a corporation, then that puts you personally separately from your business. And so they can't do anything with you, right? They can only go after your business, your LLC, and what's in there. They can't take away your house. They can't take away your personal assets and anything that basically revolves around you. So that's why I recommend setting up an LLC. But also you can start off as a sole proprietor, which means you don't have to have an LLC at the beginning, but then you're going to be paying slightly higher taxes. It really depends in which country you're operating this business. So I would recommend consulting a local accountant. Honestly, you pay them for an hour or 2 hours of just consulting, and they'll explain everything you need to know for you. And now a final question, and this one is always, it's very valid, but it's always funny when I hear this. Dan, can't my customers just go directly to AliExpress or Alibaba? Well, yes, they can, but the truth is 99.9% of people don't know about these websites, and also they refuse to buy something that has no logo on it, no brand, there's no trust behind it, and they refuse to wait 3 weeks like it takes, from AliExpress or Alibaba. And normal people can't even buy off Alibaba because on that website you have to buy in bulk. So the only real place they can buy it from is AliExpress. But even then, have you tried ordering directly from AliExpress? I suggest you go and try it if you're honestly worried about this, and you'll see the terrible customer experience that you'll have. There's no customer support, and you're basically going to wait a month or 2 months for something that costs $2, $5. And so that is why we come in and really build a valuable brand. If you walk into Walmart, everything can be found on AliExpress, Alibaba, but nobody walks into Walmart, looks at what they need, and then writes down a list of each individual thing that they're going to later go home and order off AliExpress. Nobody does that. If you do that, I'm honestly shocked.
Now, before you go on to hopefully take action and build that successful, profitable, worldwide branded dropshipping store, I want to leave you with some very, very important tips. And these things, if you don't follow follow them, they will kill your business. I've seen them kill more beginners' businesses than anything else. And the number one tip that I can give you is make sure that you sell a product that people actually need and that is easy or relatively easy to advertise. And so what I mean by a product people actually need, think about a product that is recession-proof. Think about something that people will need even if the economy is in a downturn. Right? People will continue buying things, especially things that they need, but they won't buy, gimmicky, trendy, fad type of products. And that's why, since I want to encourage you to build a real business with Shopify, with branded dropshipping, that's my best advice that I can give you. Just honestly, when you're doing your product research, take a look at your product and just honestly ask yourself, hey, is this a product that gives value to people, and will people need it if the economy is in a downturn, right? And we don't know. Who knows when the economy is going to be in a downturn or not? But that's the easiest way to make your business long-term and to make sure that you have a stable passive income for life. Now, the second part of that tip was make sure that your product is easy or relatively easy to advertise. And what I mean by that is, obviously, if a product has a wow factor, so if a product, as soon as people see it, they're like, wow, this looks amazing, I want that, or I need that, that makes it that much easier to advertise on YouTube or on Google or wherever you're advertising, right? So if your product is like, for example, I don't know, like a clothes hanger, a clothing hanger, obviously that's not going to be that easy to advertise. It's actually gonna be very difficult because if someone's scrolling through Facebook, they're not going to stop to look at a clothes hanger, right? So that's why, just make sure that your product is wow, right? Like when you look at it, you're like, wow, this honestly has potential to catch people's attention, and it's also something that people need. And the next tip, and I can't emphasize this enough, and I've said this a million times in this video, but focus on building the brand. All right. And don't just create an excuse of a brand. Don't just, create a brand that really means nothing, right? When you create a brand, you really want to make sure that it stands for something and that you are trying to become the best in the industry in that niche for your specific target market, right? That's how every single successful brand was made. Look at Apple, look at, any successful brand out there. That's what they do. You can see it in their products and their packaging, on their presence online, on their product pages. And so that's how I want you to approach this. And that's how I found success myself in e-commerce. Tip number 3, don't listen to naysayers and don't listen to negative people. There are always going to be negative people that are going to discourage you. They're going to try to tell you, hey, Shopify is too competitive. Branded dropshipping sucks. Who's gonna buy cheap stuff from China, right? There's always either a negative side to things or a positive side to things. You can be positive about it. You can say, no, I am going to take action. I am going to be successful, and I won't give up until I succeed, right? And then someone else can say, now you know what, Dan? All this sucks. It's all bullshit. It's all too competitive. Why are you making these videos anyway? Right? So just you be the one to choose whichever side you go on. I hope you take the positive side. If you watched this far, I'm sure that's the side that you'll take. While the talkers and the action fakers are just sitting around online, writing comments on YouTube videos saying it's too competitive, too saturated, and all this crap, you can actually go and use that time to take action and actually build success for yourself, for your family, and actually achieve the life of your dreams. And the last tip I want to give you, and this is the most important one, is never ever give up. If you don't give up, you can't fail. Nobody can take that away from you. Once I heard that quote, my life changed because I knew, all my dreams will come true. Every single goal that I'll set will come true, guaranteed, if I just don't give up. So don't give up. It might take you 1 store, it might take you 2 stores, it might take you 3 stores. But imagine if you actually stick with this for a year. Where would you be if you started last year, a year ago? I started online business a few years ago. And honestly, I'm scared to even think about, where I would be today, what I would be today, the experience that I would miss in my life, and the abundance that I would not have today, the freedom, the happiness that I would not have today if I did not start back then. So please just understand that the earlier you start, the better, and never ever give up. And lastly, since I want to give you a real world example of somebody who started from zero and actually was successful, extremely successful with branded dropshipping, here's one of my students, Fam. He actually joined the Shopify Freedom course, which is a course that I created early on this year, and I've got a ton of students joining that every single day. He actually was able to make 70K, I believe it was in September, in sales, and that's a profit of about 25 to 30K. I'm not sure what his numbers are now, but in November, in the first week of November, he actually was able to make 30K in sales at a 30%, 40% profit margin. He's actually, I think, 23 years old, 22 years old, my age. And so, he just became very successful with it. He's someone that didn't give up, didn't listen to the naysayers, and he took action, which is exactly what you should do. Here's an interview that I did with Fam. You can go listen to his story. Click on the video. You can check out Fam's interview here. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave you some serious value and really made you understand the massive potential, the massive opportunity that you have here today to change your life, to achieve freedom, and to build a business that you'll be proud of. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like the video, leave me a comment. I'll respond to every single comment on this video as I always do. I'll see you soon.